Hey, welcome to Sabado Nights with Steve Lu here in Venezia. Magandang hapon po sa inyo, napakagandang araw po ngayon. Asul ang kulay ng ulap at sumilip po ang araw even kahit na November na at malapit na ang winter. So narito tayo ngayon sa Piazzetta sa may San Marco, yung Basilica San Marco. Galing tayo doon kanina at mga kaibigan, itong episode po na to ay ipabato natin doon sa nararapat na maging host nitong episode na to. Walang iba kung hindi ang ating plant diwata and food diwata, Miss Katya Angara.
I will also be your Aperol Diwata.
So, mga kaibigan, welcome to Sabado Nights with Steve Lu. Dito pa rin tayo sa Europe Edition dito sa Venezia.
Ciao ciao, bello and bella. We are here in Venezia, one of the most bellissimo cities in the world. And we are here at the Piazza San Marco, one of the most iconic places in Venice. Probably one of the first places that you will want to see here. Yes, it's touristy. Yes, we're surrounded by a lot of cafes and restaurants. But you know, this is a step back in time because this piazza is most significant. We are going to see the Palazzo Ducale in a little while, which is the Doge's palace, and the seat of power and government between the 13th and 16th centuries, the height of the Venetian Republic. As you can see, we are surrounded by the most magnifico architecture, which is an example. You have an example of the classical arches, rather the rounded arches, the Corinthian style pillars. And further on at the Doge's Palace, or the Palazzo Ducale, it is a fine exemplar of the Gothic style with the pointed arches and the flower icons in a roundel. And it's very ornate as well, more ornate in the classical style. But still, you know, this is a perfect example of beautiful Venetian architecture. And over here on this side, we have the Museo Correr. And then over here, we have the bell tower, San Marco, Campanile, San Marco. And then further on, past the Palazzo Ducale, you will see two columns. One which has the winged lion, which is a symbol for San Marco. Saint Mark is the patron saint of Venice. And there's another saint on the other column, and it is facing the sea. So Venice is a magical place surrounded by the sea, and it is a perfect example of how, because it is a carless city, and it's like a step back in time. It's like a place where time stops. Hear that beautiful music? Come, take a walk with me. The world could be on fire, Venice could be sinking, and yet the band plays on. We are walking from the Piazza San Marco, and we are here in front of the Basilica San Marco. And next to the Basilica is the Palazzo Ducale. In front of it is the Piazzetta San Marco, which is Little Plaza. And if we walk to the Piazzetta, we will have a fine view, a beautiful view of the city. These are the two columns, and on top of them are two saints. The most significant one is the winged lion, which represents San Marco, or Saint Mark, the patron saint of Venice. And there is the Palazzo Ducale, the Doge's Palace. And it looks like right now they have an exhibition for Anselm Kiefer, a well-known German artist. There seems to be a lot of construction or restoration work going on, which will take a long time, understandably, for this sort of architecture. But I really can't help but marvel at the Gothic architecture here at the Palazzo and the classical architecture inspired by the Romans on this side, which is, I think, the Biblioteca, or the National Library, which also has a museum, among other things. And then this is the Piazzetta, or the Little Plaza, and we are facing the sea. You can see the Servicio Gondola over here, where you can take the gondola, and you have the gondoliers in their lovely nautical jumpers, striped jumpers. And there you have a fine view of the boardwalk of Venice, facing the other islands. Truly, Venice is a place where time stops. And And here you do not feel the relentless march of time. And modernization seems to be something that is not, that they don't seem quite ready to adopt just yet. And for that, I'm very thankful. Because again, it's like a magical city. It's a treasure box full of treasure boxes. So walking along here, the boardwalk, I can't help but feel a sense of complete calm, because Venice is a walking city. There are no cars, and which makes it unique in the world, and which is why I love it so. And thinking about it, as much as I love my McDonald's and my Starbucks, there isn't one to be seen around here. Yes, there are plenty of cafes, osterias, trattorias, enotecas, and I love that. I like that they do what is local. The locals continue to give you good food, good drinks, and made with the best ingredients, the freshest ingredients. And it's, again, Venice is a place where time stops, against the relentless march of modernity. And I love to make sure that they keep fighting against that, because I want Venice to remain like this forever if possible. Venezia is full of charming little side streets, alleyways, where you turn around one corner, you don't know what to expect. You turn the next corner, you really don't know what to expect. So it's full of these magical little corners. And I'm going to go over the bridge soon. And Venice is full of canals where the gondolas go. And you have the gondoliers. So if you fancy, you can take a romantic little trip. This is just one of many bridges and many canals all along Venezia. And some of the canals you will see the gondolas with their gondoliers and passengers. Very happy passengers. It's a rather romantic trip, I'd imagine. And it's an image that is often associated with Venice for a good reason. Personally, I find it too touristy. But hey, if you fancy a ride, just experiencing it, just for the experience, then give it a go. Here I am walking along one of the many, many little streets and alleyways found all throughout Venice. And Venezia, being a walking city, there are no cars. You get around this way on your own 2 feet. And of course, if you choose them, I've seen residents that have their own boats along the canals. You'll find these all around Venice as well. Little fountains with clean water. And of course, you see again the sigil of San Marco, Saint Mark, the lion. So we're here in another piazzetta, or a little plaza. Of course, not famous in the way that Piazza San Marco is, but they're found all throughout the city. Actually, I think many European cities, Spain in particular, will have a well, and the piazzetta will have a church, and shops all around it. And perhaps this is like a square, like a market square, where you might find fruit mongers, vegetable mongers, all kinds of goods. And this is where the community comes together. And Venice is an unusual blend of different kinds of architecture. Its very own brand, I think. Like I mentioned earlier at Piazza San Marco, you have the Gothic, you have the Classical, and you'd think, how does it all work together? But it does. Why, hello. What we have here, another Aperol Spritz. My favorite. And so we are here at Restaurante Convivio, and it is along Campo Filippo e Giacomo, about a 10-minute walk away from Arsenale, where we are heading next for dinner. So I ordered a spaghetti vongole with the clams, and Stephen will be having the frutti di mare, risotto frutti di mare. Yes. So that's a mix of seafood. And we need to load up on the carbs before we walk around the Biennale, because I heard it's quite a large exhibition. And that's a real treat. So this is a treat for us. I feel like a proper principessa or Italian royalty sitting here and soaking up the atmosphere. They've even been kind enough to turn on the outdoor heater for us. And as you can see, actually I can stay very warm in my lovely fur collar coat. But if you're also cold, they do provide these lovely blankets as well, where you can sit outside and enjoy an Aperol or perhaps a beer, whatever you like. Finally, been wanting to have a vongole for the longest time since we set foot in Italy. And finally, I will have my vongole. And Steph is having the frutti di mare, the risotto, which looks absolutely, that looks absolutely luscious. And of course, we're going to have sparkling water. And like I said, I mentioned in the grocery segment, sparkling water here is cheaper than the still water. And I prefer the sparkling water actually. And we're having it in these beautiful Venetian glasses. Isn't that wonderful? I'd love to take some home, but it's far too fragile and heavy for me to come. Anyway, enough talk. Let's have an aperol and enjoy our meal. Bon appetito! Ciao! This is your aperol diwata. I mean, your food diwata. So we've just finished a really delicious meal. The risotto frutti di mare it had plenty of seafood, all very meaty, full of it. The rice was cooked perfectly. It was soft and rich and buttery and flavorful. My pasta, the vongole, had a lot of delicious little clams, and actually you could eat the pasta on its own. It was silky yet firm, al dente, just the way it should be, because as I said in the other restaurant, it has to be cooked that way because all the flavor just soaks to the bottom, and by the time you reach the end of the end of your dish, the pasta is so firm and all the flavor is soaked by the pasta. Again, it was luscious and buttery and silky. It was just wonderful on the palate. All in all, we're in this cozy restaurant, Convivio, at Filippo Giacomo, and all around me I can get a feel of what it's like. Just for the locals alone, like Glenn, our kind server, who's Filipino as well. And looking around, I see the Il Gazzettino, which is their version of a sari-sari store. These little kiosks all around the city. And yes, all in all, wonderfully starchy, carb-loaded meal to give us the energy to walk the Biennale in a little while. So I will be signing off for now until later. Maybe have another Aperol perhaps. This has been your Aperol Diwata, your food Diwata for Sabado Nights with Steph Lu. Signing off. Rock on. Ciao, ciao.
Hey, so pinasa na nga natin yung episode sa ating food Diwata. Pero meron ako na-discover. Kumain kami dito sa restaurant. Filipino yung waiter who was actually born here in Venice. At kinukwento nga niya, tinuro niya sa amin kung saan daw nag-shooting si Piolo Pascual at si Claudine Barreto yata yon ng pelikula nila dito. Anyway, sinabi niya na pag dumiretso ka dyan dito sa tunnel na to, ay makikita mo yung stores ng Chanel o Louis Vuitton na hindi pa namin nakikita. So siguro hanapin namin mamayang gabi yan. Anyway, ang magandang kinuwento niya ay nalakad ko na pala yung dulo-dulo, because when I arrived here in Venice, I arrived at the train station called Santa Lucia. Yung train station nilang Santa Lucia Station, which is galing akong Milan na naka-train. So bumaba ako sa Santa Lucia at syempre medyo inosente pa tayo, hindi natin alam kung ano ang dapat gawin. So nilakad ko magmula doon hanggang dito sa may Rialto, the popular Rialto Bridge, kung saan may mga pamahiin sila doon, saka ang daming mga turista kayo makikita ron. So nilakad ko hanggang sa hotel namin, at ito yung kabilang dulo. Yung kabilang dulo ay yung tubig, kung nasaan yung mga water taxi at lahat. So yun yung kabilang dulo. So nalakad ko na pala yung dulo-dulo ng Venezia, which is from Santa Lucia all the way to the water. Di ko akalain yun, kasi nung pag-arrive nga natin, ayaw natin magmukhang turista. So naglakad ako, pwede naman palang mag-water taxi. Makikita nyo mamaya kung paano sumakay ng water taxi or ng mga boats, kasi dito you travel by boats dahil wala ngang sasakyan sa isla. Ito kasama natin si Glenn from Venice. Dito na pinanganak at dito na rin lumaki, pero pabalik-balik daw siya ng Pilipinas kaya siya mahusay magtagalog. At siya ngayon nagkwento sa akin tungkol nga doon sa paglalakad ka magmula Santa Lucia hanggang doon sa kaduluduluhan. So nalakad ko na yung magkabilang dulo. Panoorin mo, Sabado Nights with Steve Lu.
Sabado night with
Steve Lu. Alright. Ayan, may bago tayong subscriber.